All right, this is day 17 of 100 Days of Theology. We're doing Karl Barth still. One of the things that I think is fascinating with this guy is he was writing during, the lead up during and after World War II, but it was really after, I think it was World War I, that he had a massive break with everyone else that was his professor or teacher in the church and theology. He was working on a book on the letter to the Romans. It's a letter from the New Testament. And his first edition, he wrote. And then in the wake of World War II, all of his mentors and teachers signed off on the World War and approved it. And he was horrified. And in the midst of that, he pretty much threw out his first edition of his Romans commentary and started completely over. And when that one dropped, it was like a bomb. It just threw off all of the intellectual spheres. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, this book is insane. The way it was talking about things in a brand new way took a radical turn away from everything else that all of his professors and teachers said. But in there, he does something great. He actually builds off of Søren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, and talks a lot about crisis. That there's something called a theology of crisis for him. Now, crisis doesn't necessarily mean a terrible thing. For him and for other people, crisis is a decisive turning point. It's more critical than emergency. There's a critical turning point that happens that everyone needs to pay attention to. Because at every one of our lives, we will come up against a very critical moment where we will have an either-or decision to make. And for him, he had to decide whether or not he was going to go this way and follow his teachers and professors and approve of horrific levels of global war, or make a radical shift and change the way he thought about everything. So for him, and I think for those of us that enjoy reading him, we're always being brought to an either-or decision. There's really no middle ground. In fact, trying to be in the middle of particular decisions is really a stall. And it's trying to have it both ways. But actually, he's all about a theology of crisis that says, you've now come up to the edge of yourself. You have now come to the edge of this situation, and it's a deciding time of to turn this way or that way. And so therefore, his theology is very much about making deliberate, concerted efforts to plow a new path, to go in a new direction, especially when everything else around you is wrong, but something within you tells you this isn't right. And so in that Romans commentary, let me grab it real quick. It's right here. Now it's kind of dry because it's originally written in German and then it was translated into English. Boom! However, this book is insane in a good way. He kind of completely redefined what evangelical theology was between the world wars. And what he meant by evangelical is not the same thing as what we mean by evangelical today. And I would encourage giving it a look, all right? So this is Theology of Crisis, or let's call this Barth and Crisis. This is 17 of 100 days. Cheers.